Hi, I'm Sheila Heelan and welcome to the Happiness Series.
Hi, my name is Matt Gagnon and I'm working here, I'm a contributor for Happiness Series. Today we're going to work core workout and it's going to be about 7 to 10 minutes long, and this is something you can do about 3 times a week. I'd give yourself a rest day in between, but it's something that's going to really help you just get into your core body in a lot of different ways. So we're going to start in just a plank to start to warm up through the body. So plank pose, you are likely familiar. We're going to work first starting with just stacking your wrists under your shoulders. Okay, from that line, you have to kind of visualize where your body is in space. So your hips, trying to avoid hips kind of lifting up and pressing back, and at the same time working to avoid this idea of dipping your hips down, taking a lot of excessive pressure in your lower back. So keeping that energy here, we're going to be on the clock. You'll get a few seconds extra credit here, and we're going to be here for a minute. Okay, now at any time, if this gets impossible for you, sometimes an option of dropping to your knees, holding the plank, it's acceptable, but try to work into the full expression as much as you can. So energetically, there's a lot going on here. Think about lifting your thigh bones up, drawing your belly button into your spine, and then from your sternum, the center of your chest, breathe it forward towards your shin, and then take your gaze just a couple inches, in front of your mat. Thinking about using your whole body to keep you supported and lifted here. Pay attention to your breath. And this idea of holding your breath really isn't going to make this any easier. We got about 10 seconds. Stay with it here. And from here, slowly lower down, drop to your knees. Roll back, lie down on your back. So starting, talking about feet. For this, we're going to go plantar flexion. So pointing your toes a lot and keep that action the whole time. So you're active through your legs, point your toes. Go hands behind your head, interlace your fingers. You can draw your elbows up. Now, using your hands to support the weight of your head and support your neck, not working to yank your head up. Just here to support the neck. Press your low back down into the ground. Take a breath in. As you exhale, curl your shoulders off the ground. Inhale, lower down. And exhale, lift up. So we're going to work a clock here to start. So for 30 seconds, exhale up, inhale down. And just repeat. Keeping awareness, keeping your feet pointed. That's going to come into play a little bit more here shortly. Inhale, lower, and exhale, lift up. Got about 10 seconds left with this part, lower and lift. And from here, we're going to keep the motion happening with your shoulders. And just lift your right leg up and then lower down. And lift and lower. So, working 30 seconds here, just right leg. Thinking about not really bringing your right foot all the way down to the ground, but almost. Hover and lift. If you want a little bit more, work to keep your shoulder blades off the ground the whole time. So you don't come down, 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 but you just start to hover your shoulder blades and then you lift up. We've got a few seconds here. And right away, just going to switch legs. Right leg's down, start to lift up through your left leg. As you lift your shoulders, inhale, lower, exhale, lift. And repeat, down and up. Keep having this mindfulness just of your breath as you lower, inhale, exhale, lift up. Check yourself. If you're starting to yank on your head, stop. Think about using your core body, your front line, to lift you up. Resist gravity as you come down. Good. Now both feet down. Back to where we started. Just lift up through your shoulders. Lower and lift. Lower and lift. Every time you curl up, press your low back down. Curl up. Lower down. And lift. Lower and lift. We got about 10 seconds or so here. Release, lower down. From here, you're going to take your palms, put them underneath your glutes, okay? So just underneath your sits bones. Point your toes towards the ceiling. You're just going to lower down, hover your feet just a couple inches off the ground, and then come all the way back up, lower down, and lift. So we're going to be here for a little bit. Feel this lengthening action of your belly as you lower, and then the contraction, you lift back up, lower down, and lift. Coming back to breath, inhale down, and exhale up, lower, and lift it up. Got about 30 seconds here, staying with that action, and up, lower down, and lift. We're on our final 15 seconds here. Lower down, lift it up, lower. Remember, active feet, lower. Squeeze your thighs towards each other. Okay, next time down, you're just going to hold it a couple inches from the ground and start to just flutter your feet. Flutter and flutter. Stay with that as you flutter, flutter. 3, 2, and release down. Just to start to counter here, and remember, your core body is more than just stuff you can see. We're going to set up for a variation of bridge pose, okay? We're going to go feet inner hip distance apart. Now press down through your shoulder blades. So if you roll open through your shoulders, just to give your neck a little bit extra support here, go ahead and lift your hips up and squeeze. We'll start with an isometric hold. We're going to be here for 30 seconds. Pressing down, lift your hips up, squeeze your glutes, squeeze your glutes. So we're really working to strengthen here. So have a special kind of awareness that you are squeezing your glutes and you're thrusting your pelvis up. Keep breathing here. So when we start to find movement, this is where you come back to. You're going to try to find this extra squeeze every time you come up. From here, let's go ahead and lower down. Just hover your hips just off the ground and lift up and squeeze. Good. Again, lower down. Lift it up. Lower. And lift. Good. Lower. And lift. Got a few more of these here. Every time you come up, squeeze. And then lower down. And repeat. Draw up. Lower. Lift. Last one. Bring it up and hold it. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Lower halfway down. You just start to pulse your hips. Little pulses. Little pulses. Staying active through this whole area of your core body. Your legs may start to fire and talk to you a little bit. Pulse it. Pulse it. Bring it up and hold. Squeeze. And from here, release, lower down. Now we're going to come into, it's called a hollow. Okay. Here. Now, you may be familiar with boat pose if you practice yoga. This is similar to boat pose, but they're certainly different. So don't confuse the two, okay? The biggest difference is where you're placing your weight. In a hollow, your low back is on the ground, okay? So we're going to talk it in progressions. So it's totally cool to back off of a progression and come to an easier version of hollow. Really want to push yourself and not quit altogether. You want to keep working. It's a mental thing as much as anything else. It's just coming to this idea that you don't quit, okay? So you're going to go hands by the sides of your shins. Press your low back down. Curl your tailbone up and start to lift your shoulder blades off the ground. Hollow in. Everything draws into your belly button. This is hollow version, progression 1, okay? If you're fine here, awesome. If you're just kind of a little bit bored, you're like, I can do more of this, straighten your legs. And then start to lower down, or pointing your toes. This is progression 2. Continue to be mindful of your breath here in this hollow. And we have a clock going. So you'll get a little extra credit here. So if you're fine, you're going to go into a deeper progression, extending your hands back behind you. And then maybe you can start to lower your legs. Keep pressing down into your low back. Curl your tailbone up. Keep your shoulder blades lifted. If you start to get tired, maybe you come back to an easier progression or all the way here. Any version of this is fine, but you're just working mental as much as anything else. You just keep pushing, stay with your breath, release, lower down. You're going to give yourself 10 seconds rest. We're going to come right back into it. Just enough time to find a little bit of relief. And here we go. Let's do it again. We hollow. Lift up. Progression 1, 2, progression 3. Just knowing wherever you're at, it's all good. Just keep working that. Now a couple things to think about. Your low back's on the ground. Press it down. Curl your tailbone up and lift your shoulder blades. And that happens in all the progressions, wherever you're at. We've got a few more seconds of this hollow. And release lower down. From here, weights are an awesome prop to have for this, okay? Really anything heavy, if you don't particularly have weights, is going to work for what we're doing, okay? So, find a set of weights that's going to work for you. We have different weights. These are 4-pound weights. It's kind of just where you're at. Do you want to go heavier? Go heavier. Just make sure that your form isn't compromised because you're trying to lift heavier weight, okay? So the bridge we just worked, we're going to do the same thing. But this time, lifting your hips up, you're going to take the weights over your face, palms face one another. Now to start, you're just going to start to lower your hips like you did before and then lift, squeeze. Now incorporate with the weights, reaching back, lower the weights down. Keep your elbows straight and locked out, then lift up and lower down and lift. So we start here, lower, lift it up and lower, lift. Got a few more of these, lower, lift up. Every time you come to the top, squeeze, resist gravity, lower down, bring it up and squeeze. Go a couple more, lower and lift, lower down. And lift it up. Now, weights right here. We're going to go wide through your arms. Going to just lower down, go wide, wide, wide. And then press up, bring it into your chest. Lower and lift. Squeeze. Lower and lift. So the action is slow, resisting gravity, not letting gravity do half the work for you, and not really letting momentum get involved. You control the weight all the way down, bring it all the way up. You squeeze, lower down, lift it up, lower down, and lift. So one of the beauties of having online content like this is you can pause this and you can work these sets longer and repeat. So from here, we're going to go ahead and lower that down. We're going to work back to where we started, straighten your legs, lift up. Now we're going to take this one step deeper. You're going to come up, bend your right knee, left elbow goes outside of right knee. You'll get a better view of this on this side. Knee to elbow, extend, bring it out, and straighten. Now, we're going to take this one step deeper. Get your feet off the ground to hover, cross it. If this is too intense, just let the feet come back to the ground, lower down, and lift. Inhale. Exhale. Pay attention to shoulder blades. When you come back to center, keep them off the ground. Cross it. Lower and cross. Center. Again. 3. Here's 2. And 1. From here, draw your knees into your chest. Roll forward, cross your ankles. And we're going to finish here in an extended forearm plank. So, options here, you can interlace your hands, or if you just prefer to have your palms flat on the ground, either way is totally cool. Make sure your elbows are under your shoulders. From here, go ahead and just walk your elbows forward kind of towards the top of your mat, and then walk your feet back towards the back of your mat. Now here, once again, think about breathing your heart forward, lifting up through your thighs, and just breathe if you want a little bit more. Walk your feet farther back and then breathe your heart forward. Think about having one line, hips between your shoulders and your heels. You go ahead and just leave you guys right here. Definitely come back and check out some of these videos here on the Happiness series. Thanks a lot.